Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Rohit. Today we'll talk about the Flow Designer integration. In this Flow Designer integration, we are going to cover that API token, how you can use the API token in your Flow Designer integrations. And secondly, we'll talk about that how we can use the connection aliases instead of connection inline. So these two topics. Apart from that, we'll talk about that how you can use your actions to directly in your business rule or any of these your UI action. So let's get started. So guys, if you see, this is my San Diego instance, and then this San Diego instance, this instance is upgraded few days ago. If you want to know the San Diego features, you can go and watch my previous video. So let's start today's topic called the integration hub integrations. So if you see here in our past video also, I use this API called Weather API. Using that Weather API, you can you can get that weather details. So if you see here, this is my API key. This API key is right now I'm showing, but this API key I will deactivate after some time. And this is the prototype HTTPS, and then format I am getting the JSON, and then using the query parameter we are going to get that the we are passing the value, and then by that what we are getting some kind of response. This is the response body we are getting. Actually what we are getting that their location details and their weather details. So this API we are going to implement in your Flow Designer, and then in the Flow Designer we will use the API token. We will use the connection aliases. Also, we will use the JSON Parser. So these are the topic we are going to cover that. So very first thing is that what we have to do. This is my San Diego instance, and here what I'll do, I'll go to the Flow Designer and open my Flow Designer. And in also what I'll do that I'll open and create a connection. So what I'll do, I'll click all and then type connection. And if you see here, you have a module called connection and credentials. You have to click here, and I am going to create a connection here. So I'll click new, and our case is a weather API, so we'll use that weather API. So this will be our connections aliases name. If you see, the table is the sys underscore alias table, and here you can change the type is connections and credential or only credential. In our case, we are going to use the connection and the credentials. Now, if you see the configuration template, so if I click all, you can see there are many configuration template. So in case you are using that API key, you have to select the API key. If you are using that basic authentication, you have to select the basic authentication. If you are using OAuth, you have to select the OAuth. So I am going to use the API key here and then save that. So our weather API, this alias key is ready. Now we have to put the or we have to create the connection and credential. So we'll just have to click that here, create a new connection and credentials. Now what I have to do, I have to change this name. So connection name, I'll replace with weather API. So weather smoke connections, and here we have to be put the connection URL. From where I can get the connection URL, I'll go here, and if I scroll up, you can see this is my actually the endpoint starting. So I'll copy this one. This is my base endpoint. I'll go here and then paste here. I just paste this key. So this will be our base endpoint, and now I have to put the API key. So I'll go back to here and then copy this API key and paste here. Once you create that, you can see there is a one connections or is created, and this connection is created here. But if you move to that further environment, this connection won't be captured in your update set. So if you move your port to next environment, make sure to manually create one connection. So you put the manual step to create manually these connections. Otherwise, you can by force you can add this data to your update set. Now, if I go back to the flow designer and if I go to the connection, if you see there are many connection is available. In our case, you can see the weather API connection is available. Now we have already added one connections. You can see this is the one connections. You can keep creating the multiple connection, one for day, one for prod. You can also do that. Now if you click the view details, you will be able to see the endpoint, and then this is the connection, and this is the API key. These types of things we are using. Okay. Now we are going to use this connections token to our actual integrations. What I'll do, I'll go to the actions here and I'll create a new actions. I'll click here and put the actions name called weather API. And here I'll not put much details. I'll click submit. Now what we have to do, I have to create the inputs because I need to pass the for which location I am looking for all the details. So I'll go back here and then create a variable called location, and then it's already changed, and I'll make that is mandatory. So this fields is mandatory. Now what I'll do, I'll click the plus sign, and then if I scroll down, this is subscription based. So if you see, this is a subscription based. I am doing for the demoing purpose, but if you whenever you integrate in your platform, make sure you talk to your account manager, ServiceNow account manager to implement these things. I'll click the rest. Now you can see previously in our all our video use the define connection inline, and here we defined our base URL and all those stuffs. But this time we'll use the connection aliases and we'll type that weather API. So this is the weather API. Once you select the weather API, by default the base URL will be automatically populated. Now next step is that uh, request details. You can see the builder request, and then type. You have two options called manually and from open API specification. In our next video, we'll definitely talk about from open API specification how we can use that. But for the time being, I'm going to select the manual, and this is the resource path that I have to use. If I go back here, so you can see this is my resource path right now. So I'll copy this resource path from here and paste in our resource path. Now method is the default method, is which is the get method, and this is the query parameter. We have to pass the key, we have to pass the q equal to the location, and we have to pass the API equal to no. So let's do that. So in this query parameter, I'll create a query, and then first parameter is the key. Second parameter, we need the queue, and then third parameter, we need basically the AQI. So I'll copy this one, and this AQI value will be no, that is hard coded. Q is nothing but a location, and how we'll get that? We'll get from the input variable. So we'll select the location. So key is nothing but the key we are actually using, the connection key. So I'll select here, and then rest setup, and if you see the credential value, I'll select that one. So in this way, we are actually encoding that credential key, and not whenever we'll execute, that key will not be visible to anyone. Okay. So that's it. Let's save this one. We'll save this with the API and click test. And in this test, what we can see, we can put that location called London right now and run test. So now you can see this run execution is done. If I click here, and if you see, what response we actually get. We get this response, but we don't know that what is the what our expectation is, that we should get this type of data, but we are not getting. So we'll deep dive that one. So we'll close that, and if I click the steps here, so in the steps you can see the connection analysis we are using that one, and then query parameter. Right now you will be able to see the key and value is the star star, because this is the credential value which won't be visible to anyone anymore. Now, if I go back to here, we actually get this details response body, these details, but that is not passed to our. You can see that is not processed and passed to that actually to output. It's only inside the steps. What we can do, we can process this data. So for that, what we have to do, we have to click plus sign, and then there is a one more details available, that is called JSON Parser, because this time we are dealing with the JSON. We'll select the JSON. Now in this JSON, what we are actually going to process, we are going to process the response body, right? So whatever response body will receive in the REST mass steps, we are going to process. We'll click here and then click REST steps and response body. So this will be our response body. And how the response body looks like that. So the response body will be looks like in this way. So we'll copy this sample data. So this is our sample data. We'll copy here and then we'll paste here. Okay, so once we paste that, this complete sample data is pasted here. Now you click the generate target. Once you click the generate target, it's generate a target data, and if you click here, you can see the structure way of the data. So the first root, you have a location and then current, and if you open the current, you have more details of these latest update 10. All these are automatically by default generated. Okay, now what you have to do, you have to be go back to the output here and then create a output. Let's take example. In our case, the output is uh, a response, and then I'll put the name also response, and then the type will be the object here. And then what we'll do, we'll click the exit edit mode. Now here is the thing, if you want to get the specific value or like certain value, not all the value, you need to be manually create all these object inside the object manually. Like if you see here, we are getting the location. Inside the location, we are getting the name, we are getting the region, country, latitude, longitude, all these details we are getting. So if you want to get some of these informations, you need to have you need to create them manually. So I will not go that details right now. So this response is created. Now what I have to do, so this root have a all this location and current. So I will copy this root and drag here. So let's take example that in this data, what we are actually getting, we are getting the location called name, region, country, latitude, longitude, and then these are the information. But we don't need all these details. We need a very specific details, that is called we need that name and latitude and longitude. Maybe we don't need other details. What will go here? I'll create a variable called response here, called response data, and here I'll change this name called response data, and here I'll change that to object type, and I'll create some child element here. So our child element will be nothing called, one will be the name, so I'll change that to name, and then another will be that I'll create inside that, so I'll create that one more child called latitude, and then one more variable I'll create that longitude. So I'll create one more variable called longitude, and maybe one more things we'll create called region. I'll copy this one, and here I will create one more thing called region. So these are the variable I am going to create that. So here now I'll go exit mode, and then here I'll simply map here called JSON Parser root, and then location I need to map the name. I need to map one more time call here root call location call latitude. Here I'll map one more time called longitude, and then here I'll maybe add JSON parser call region. So these are the things I have I can do. Somehow it's cannot somehow I am not able to drag directly because there are some issues, but you can also create manually these steps and implement. So let's publish this one, and then we'll see that we'll test that. Now our action is ready. If you see here, this action is ready. If I click test, it is asking some parameter called location. I'll put London and click run test. Once I click run test, it will run this API, and this API uh, put some response called response data and latitude, longitude, name, and the region. These are the data it's returned me. I can use this data, or I can use this to any of this flow or any of these UI actions. Now, what I'll do, I'll go back to these actions here, and if you see in three dots here, I'll simply click and then click that create code snippet. So once we click the create code snippet, it will give me a complete code that how I can use that. And if you see here, these have two options. One is the server side, how you can use the server side, and another is the how you can use the client side. Those options are available. So you need to just simply copy this code from here and go back to your maybe if I want to implement in our location table. Okay, so I can simply go back to the locations table. So maybe these are the locations here. So I'll simply create a location called London. Okay, so and these are the location I am getting. And here I can create a UI action. So I'll simply create a UI action here. Call get weather. And this might be, I'll put the table name is the CML location maybe, and here I'll put that form button, and then what I'll do, I'll copy and paste this whole code. So what I need, I don't need these functions and this one, I'll just remove that, and here I need to pass some value which is the nothing but current dot this name. So I'll copy this name here. So this will pass the name, and in this outputs I'll get the response data. So this will be our output. I'll put that current dot here. We may have a street. In the street I'll put all these details. Wherever you feel that you need to put, you can put that. So current dot street is nothing but this response data. I'll paste there, and now save that. So this button will be available on the CML location table, and whenever you click the button, it will get the data from this flow designer and paste in your basically that into the street. So let's refresh that, and once I click the get location details, and if I go back, so now I can see this street is not populated. Let's see what we have missed. If I go back to this UI action, I can see I have put the current dot street, but I have to put the current dot update method to update the data. I'll put that one and simply save that. And now if I go back to this here I'll refresh that and click the UI action to get the data. So let's refresh and click the get location data. And if I go back to that, you can see right now we are getting objects, which is might be the reason. If I go back here and then I'll put that JSON dot stringify, and then I'll remove that part and simply save that. And refresh again and click the get location details. And if I go back, I can see all these details is populated into the street. So that way you can directly use any of these actions to your any of these UI action or business rule. Otherwise, definitely you can use these actions to any of these your flow wherever is needed. So that's it for today. Thank you very much. Have a great day.